Hi, it's Jen Gilbert. I hope everybody's doing well. I am the author and editor of JBScommunications, which is an e-newsletter focusing on different techniques and strategies in sales, marketing, mindset, organization, and wealth creation. The reason that I started this business and this journey is because I was so sick and tired of the rat race that I was living. Probably not much unlike what you might be experiencing. I was in orthopedic sales, and I was working 14 to 16 hours a day, being on call 24/7, and just really getting overly stressed out. I mean, I can handle a lot of stress, but with the rising quotas on every single year, and trying to keep it within the top 5% in my sales, it was just getting to be so stressful. And it was starting to come out in my health, and it was starting to take effect of my family. And because a number of different reasons that I'll go into in a few minutes, I decided I need out. And so that was the advent of JBS Communications and my business, and it's all been great since then. To give a bit of a background about me, I was born in New Jersey, southern New Jersey, in a little town called Salem, New Jersey, but didn't live there very long. My parents were principals and educators, but decided that they wanted to become entrepreneurs and decided to go into the restaurant business up in the Poconos. And so we owned 3 businesses that were in business for almost 30 years, quite successful. Grew up in Stroudsburg, and that's where I met my husband. However, we went to totally different colleges and decided not to get married until quite later, quite honestly. I ended up going to Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania, a small private school in Pennsylvania, I majored in business and economics. And then after my graduation, I ran my family's restaurants for about a year, and then I moved to Philadelphia, which is where I started my sales career in orthopedic sales. And back then, I was young and did not have a family, did not have kids. My husband at that point was in the military, and we had a very, very long-distance relationship. And so I did not travel with him to any of his locations until much later, because I wanted to build my career in Philadelphia, which is exactly what I did. But what that enabled me to do is spend a lot of time, again, the 16 to 14, 16-hour days building my business, building my territory, and doing quite well with it. But again, because of the rising quotas, it just got to be a little bit crazy. What happened was, because my husband was in the military, he got stationed in Belgium. And at that point, I decided, oh, that's a nice place to go. I think I'll go over with you. And so I put my orthopedic sales career on hold, and we went and lived over in Belgium for about 3 years. And it was just the best experience. We have so many lifetime friends and so many lifetime moments that we will never, ever forget. Now, obviously, I couldn't get an orthopedic sales job over there, one, because of the language barrier. I never really quite became all that proficient and fluent in French. Although I got around, I knew how to say the basics, so that was great. And my husband, of course, was fluent. So anyway, but what I did sell was luxury cars to the diplomats at NATO and different embassies throughout the area. Most people are fluent in English, and so the language barrier wasn't all that great. And so that was my experience, my sales experience over in Belgium, and it was quite an experience, and a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So after that, we came back to the United States, did not come back to the East Coast right away. We were in Colorado and Kansas and where else? Monterey and a whole bunch of other fun places before we were able to come back to the East Coast. But and that's when I decided to get back into my sales career in orthopedic sales. And ironically, law of attraction, right? When I got back, my old boss had an opening for me, and it just went very, very smoothly, the transition back into orthopedic sales. But by that time, we were thinking about starting a family, which we did. And while my daughter was smaller, I didn't really think too much of the crazy hours because, you know, she was a baby. I was still able to spend a fair amount of time with her. But I was of the mentality that I really just wanted to further my career while she was a baby and then hopefully be able to sit back a little bit, quote unquote, as she started to get into school age and older when she would really, really need me. And so I was able to go along and do quite well for several years. And again, hindsight's always 20/20. I didn't think it was affecting her as much as I now know my crazy schedule did affect her. My husband at the time was still in the military, so he didn't have he had a very, very flexible schedule, as a matter of fact. But then he retired and went into business and no longer has that flexible time to pick up where I couldn't be at home at night if I was entertaining or if I had a surgery scheduled or whatever the deal was. Fast forward, my daughter in first grade, we had a parent-teacher conference. And I expected the glowing reports like I had always had up until that point. Well, that didn't happen. And this teacher was telling me that while she's not a poor student, she definitely wasn't working up to her capabilities, that she was very, very tired in the afternoon and was not able to focus. And the afternoon was when they did some of the harder subjects, and that she just wasn't being as well adjusted as the teacher felt that she should be. Well, my heart went into my stomach, first of all, because it's not what I was expecting, and the aha light finally went off in my brain. And so I went out and I did what I needed to do that day, but that night is when my husband and I sat down and talked about it and said, okay, something's got to change because this is not good for our daughter. So that night, I put my resume out, and while I didn't exit completely from the orthopedic arena, I exited from the OR arena, which is where all the time-consuming time is spent. So I was still in the orthopedic sales, but it was to doctors within their offices. So it was more or less a 9 to 5-ish job. I didn't have to entertain at night. I entertained during the afternoon during lunch hours, and I was able to be at home for my daughter relatively early. There were still times that I needed other people to pick up my daughter, but 9 times out of 10 I was able to get home, get the homework done. So, but there's always trade-offs, right? Life is a trade-off, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't earning the kind of money that I was used to earning, and it wasn't challenging for me. So that is when I decided I'm going to start my own business. And that's where I am today. And so I'm diving heavily now into the social media. I've done some of the other things, obviously my e-zine and some Google AdWords that have been very successful. But, I am so happy. No longer are the days where I can't take my daughter to the bus stop. She gets off of the bus and I'm there for her at night. She can be at whatever activity she wants to be at, whether it's soccer, dance, art, whatever after school activity. And now her teachers are back to saying that she's working up to her greatest potential. She's not tired in the afternoon, and I'm able to be there even for some of the activities that are there. So it's been fantastic. So if you would like to chat or learn more about me, my web address is jenniferlgilbert.com. My cell number is 610-462-4772, and I look forward to hearing from you and chatting. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.